Hello viewers. After installing the Fusion 360 software, you will reach on this page. Okay. So we have to start by making a 2D sketch. So when you reach this page, you will see in the design and solid, you will see a create sketch option. So when clicking on the create sketch, you can choose your plane here. To choose your plane, if you want to create on the bottom plane, which is the down plane, or you can also know it as the top plane, you choose the one that is down, so on the floor. Whereas if you want to choose from the front or from the back, then you choose the X plane. But if you want to make it from the left or the right, then you choose the Y plane, the one that is on the left. This is the one that is on the front. It's also known as the X plane or the front or back plane. And this is the top or bottom plane, also known as the Z plane. So we will start by making it on the Z plane. When looking at the Z plane, we try to look at it from a top view. What the object that we are trying to design will look from a top view. So I'm trying to design a cup for absolute beginners. So I'll start by creating a circle, center, diameter, circle. I'll start from the center point and I'll take it about 25 to 50 mm. So the diameter is 50 mm. The radius is 25 mm. So the circle that we've drawn is assumed as the internal diameter of the cup. I will make another external diameter for the cup, which will be slightly larger than the internal diameter. So I can make it about 30, which will end up for a diameter of 60 mm. After finishing this step, you can press the escape button so that it leaves you from whichever tool you've selected from the drop down, or if you want to just go back. Now I can click on this home button here. It takes you to the home view. So as you can see, this is what it would look from the home view. I will click in between both the circles, in between this circle and in between this circle. So what I do is I just click in the center of both the circles, and then I have, now it's in the 2D view. It's just a 2D sketch. Now to make it into a 3D sketch means we want to make a model, or in just clear language we want to make a cylinder. So what we do is we go in solid. Okay. After going in solid, we go in the extrude option. The extrude just changes our 2D sketch into a 3D sketch by increasing it along the plane in which we have drawn the sketch. Like for instance, in this sketch, we have done it along the z-axis, which is the top or the bottom. So it will increment the height in the z, which is the top or the bottom axis. So I will click on extrude, and after clicking on extrude, you will see this arrow pop up. You can either push this arrow down to make a negative extrude, which would extrude from the bottom, or you can move it up to extrude from towards the top side of it. So I will extrude it. I will go back to the home view. I will go to the front view so that I can see the object from the front, not from the top but from the front. So I will extrude it towards the a height of a cup. So I will just take about 60 mm. Okay, I think so. That's okay. Or just 70 mm seems good. You don't have to change any of the options here, but just for beginner's sake, I will explain to you what each of these options mean. The start here explains from where you are starting your extrusion. If it is on the profile plane is the sketch plane where you have done a sketch. Okay. In the next videos or in the series of these videos, I will explain what the other options mean. I will just for now explain what these options which are already default selected mean. Okay, the direction, you can either select one side, two side or symmetric. So one side means you can either do it on the top side or the down side. Okay. Then the extent. This extent is a very useful tool, but for now we have just kept it with distance. So we manually enter the distance, or we push this arrow and we measure the distance according to which we want it. Then there's this taper angle. So in case you want to put a taper, you can click on the taper angle. The operation can be used for many different things. Now, if you want to if you have another body, if you have another object, and you want to join this object to that object, you can join, or you can do cut, or you can do intersect, or new body, or this. So the default option for new body just creates a new body. It's like creating a different body, and when you click OK, it will come here on the left hand side. You will see a new body created in this drop down list. It will be named as body 1. You can change the name by just clicking on the body, right clicking and clicking for rename. Sorry, you have to click it twice and then you can rename it. So I will rename this as a cylinder and enter. Now we have created a hollow cylinder. You can see that we can see through and through the cylinder. The next step is to create a base for the cylinder so that if you are pouring tea in the cup or something like that, it doesn't go from the bottom and pour out. So to do that, I will first hide this body. You can also do it with the body visible. I find it easier, and I think it's easier to do it without the body visible. So I first have to have the old reference. So for the old reference, I have to see the old sketch. So for that, I click on the side drop down menu for the sketches here, and I make this visible so I can see the body. Now what I have to do is, I need the internal diameter of the circle to be extruded so that it fills the bottom gap. So I do the same drill again. I click on instead of clicking on in between these two concentric circles, I click in between the smallest circle. So it will extrude this area. Or in other terms, it will make this area expand in the z-axis. For now, as we have selected the z-axis, we are drawing in the z-axis, or the top axis or the bottom axis. So I click on extrude, and I'll make it for, at this point, for referring to the body which was already created, you can make the bodies visible by clicking on the body's eye that is shown here. Now I look at the object from the front view by clicking front, and I will fit it to the entire screen so that I can refer as to how much large I require the base, that bottom thing to be. Now without selecting anywhere else, only one profile is selected, the one that is the inside circle. I will expand this, or I will extrude it to a height of, say, maybe 5 mm, okay, or 10 mm. So you can hide the body again and see exactly how big the 10 mm is that you are creating. So if the cylinder which is visible is this big, you might want to make this a little lesser. You can even type in this directly. You can just type like if I want 9 or if I want 8, and then I just make and press enter. So I have already extruded this. We can also join this second body to the first body when extruding it. So I'll go back, I'll do an undo extrude, and I'll show you that how to do that again. So I click on the interior of the circle, I say extrude, and then I wanted to extrude it for 8 mm. And here, instead of clicking a new body, I say join. So when I say join, it will join to whatever body it is touching to. So here it would touch to our cylindrical body. So it would join to the cylindrical body. So when I say OK, it will be inside the cylindrical body. It will be a part of the cylindrical body. It won't create a body too, as seen some few seconds back. Now I go back to the home view. And as we can see, it's clearly visible that the gap is covered. So there will be no tea or water flowing out from your cup. Now we also have to make a handle for this. It's easy to make a handle. I will show you how to make a handle. So now instead of using the top plane or the bottom plane, we will use either the front plane or any of the side plane. So I will use the front plane because as a circle has no sides, I will use the front plane for ease. Then I will fit the object to the full screen, and I want my handle to be approximately here somewhere. So I go back in Sketch, okay, go to the home view, and here I can see 3 planes, 1, 2, 3, the down one, okay. At this point you can even hide your bodies again by clicking here to hide, and I choose the front plane, the one that is parallel to this front plane. I click that, and I have started drawing the front plane. Now at this point I can turn back my bodies on and do a fit to fit it to the entire screen. I will make a rectangle to extrude a slight area from the from a cup. Okay, so I made a rectangle, and inside the rectangle I will make a circle, just to keep it easy. I'll make it 20. Yeah. At this point, we can see that the rectangle that I have drawn has pointed edges. So to make these edges flat or rounded, we want to use the fillet tool. So what the fillet tool does is here, it's in the sketch, and you find it here in the modify. So when you click the fillet and it's activated, you have to choose the 2 sides that you want to use for the fillet. So I want to use this one side and this one side. It creates an automatic fillet. You can choose the radius of the fillet, but I will keep it to its default. I will also choose a fillet here. Actually, I would try to make the radius slightly extra. So I double click on the measurement and I make it 6 or maybe 10. Okay, I think so 10 was too much, we'll make it 6 then. I come back to this side and I want to put another fillet on the bottom. So I click back on fillet and I select on this side and I select on this side. And I pulled 6 mm. Now we have a side view of what the cup would do. This is a 2D view. We want to be sure that this is exactly perpendicular to the cup. So when I open the home view, you will see that it is perpendicular to the cup. Now in this scenario, if we extrude it just from one side, it will be, if I look at it from the top view and you will understand it better. If I expand it just on this side, on the bottom side, it will be too long. So in this case, I had to expand it from both the sides. I had to extrude it from both the sides. So I'll show you that how it's done. Firstly, I'll select on the area that's between the outer rectangle or the modified rectangle and the circle that was on the interior. Then I will click on the extrude by clicking on solid. and clicking on extrude. Now you remember I told you about the direction wherein you only do the extrusion on one side. In this you will do the extrusion on two sides. The direction will be for both the sides. So I click here, instead of one side I click here two sides. So now whatever measurement I put here will be applicable to both the sides by default. I'll give you an example. I'll put 2 mm. So the total width will be 4 mm. Because it will be 2 mm there. Now the arrow that's selected is extruding on the right hand side. And the left hand side I want to also extrude 2 mm. We can also choose the option for symmetric, because that's what we want to use here. When we choose symmetric and we put a distance as if it's 2 mm, it will be extruded for 4 mm in total, because from the front it will be extruded in 2 mm and from the back it will be extruded in 2 mm. So I don't want to make this a new body, I want to join this to the previous body as we had done before. We can also make it a new body for easier modifications in the future, or for changing it through the timeline that is here below. But since this is the absolute beginners tutorial, I'll do it the easy way and just join it toward the old body which was created. So I click the join in the operation and I'll say OK. Now the last thing that is remaining for this normal cup is the aesthetics of it. We don't want sharp edges here and here. So we apply solid fillets to each and everything. Now a solid fillet option is in solid. Then you find here in the modify, you find in the fillet. You click on it, and then just like before how you selected the two sides, here you select two edges or faces or features. So I just have to select on, I'll zoom it by scrolling up, then I'll select the top part and the interior part, and I'll just say OK. I'll do it again. Select on fillet, select the top part and select the interior part. Now we have to choose the distance that we want to make the fillet. So I selected 2.5 mm and I have said OK. So your edge is nice and round, won't be sharp. There's also one more fillet that is on the inside. We'll go. Since our fillet changed the interior dimensions and removed the interior circle, we'll go back and we'll change it to a lesser radius. We'll do that fillet thing again. Fillet, the top and the interior. And I'll make it 1 instead of 2.5, because 2.5 is I think so the limit. So if I make it 1 and I say OK, there are nice edges here which are not sharp. And there's a fillet in the inside also, if you notice here. You can also make a fillet on the down edge, the down corner here. So in the same way we do it. So I forgot to tell you that when you want to revolve it, or when you want to orbit it, okay, do an orbit, we use the left click and click on this home view, this box that is here. When you click on the box, you will see this arrow, this dot in the center and two arrows on the covering it. This is for the orbit. So when you push it up, it turns it over. When you push it on the side, it turns it towards the side. So I want to make a fillet here between this and this. So I click on the fillet option. I click on the outer boundary of it, the outer edge. Sorry, not the boundary, it's the edge. And then I click on the lower edge, the edge at the bottom. And then I again say 1. as I want a 1 mm radius. I say okay. So we've made the cup, the cylindrical part of the cup, we've made it nice and curved edges everywhere. But we have to still make nice, we have to make a good, give a good aesthetic feel on this side. So we do the same thing with the fillet. Click on fillet, select this interior side, select this exterior side, and I select one. We want the same thing to happen on this side. So we click on fillet, and click on this, and click on this, and we say 1. But as you have noticed, here, that's creating a fillet which is the interior of it. That's okay for now, because since this is the beginner's tutorial, I'll explain more about that later. I would like to talk about some of the features available which can help us in creating or in just learning some more things. So I'll start with the solid. Okay, in the solid there's an extrude which we have used, so you know how it works. There's a revolve. So a revolve works almost like an extrude, but it revolves it around an axis, as shown in that video, as shown in the graphic there. I will explain it in the series of videos that I'll make, how to use a revolve, how to use a hole, how to use a pattern, how to use a form, how to use the press pull. The press pull can be also used to make a fillet. It's the same thing. You click on press pull and then you select the section that you want to select. If it's this and this. It can be used for extrusion. So see, when I pull it up or pull it down, I can change the height of it. I can change the extrusion in that direction. So if I go on the front plane and I make a fit, and here I change the height. So I can make that -3. Okay, we'll try to make these edges, we'll try to make the height of this handle smaller. So -3 brings it from its original height -3 mm less. I say okay. The same thing we'll do from the down. So I show you how that works. I first click on the press pull. I just click on the edge that I want to press or pull. Then to have a better view, I click on the home view and then the front view so that I can look at it from the front side. I zoom a little bit and reduce the size. Okay, so I have made it -7. Why -7? Even though it's going on top, is because the edge is the bottom edge is actually made to extrude in this direction, in the down direction. So it's going the top direction is the negative direction for it. Whereas if you do it from the top, if you're extruding for that top corner, like how we did before here on top, the positive extrusion is in this side, the top side, and negative extrusion was in this side. So I click OK now. Actually, I think so. We made it too small. So I'll go back into the back and we'll do that again. And then I click OK. We'll move on to the next thing, that is you can use shell, which I'll explain in next future videos. We can use combine, which is a very useful thing. Even the split body is a very useful thing. As for moving the cup, I'll show it in the next video. Assembling, I will show it in the last video, most probably the last video of this series. Constructing is for making planes. That also we will do it in the maybe in the second video. Inspect is used for many different types of uses. You can find the center of mass of an object. You can measure. So I'll just show you how to measure, because that's one of the easiest things that's here. That's most basic. So I'll click on measure. So if I want to zoom here and I want to measure from this edge to this edge, so I click on this edge and then I click on this edge, and then it shows me the distance. It's 3 mm. If I click on X, Y, Z delta, it will show me the X, Y, and Z differences. It's 3 mm. I'll close that. That shows everything that is in solid. Surface will be maybe for another series of videos, as this is not for the absolute beginners. The surface you have to make, you can make forms, you can do stitching and similar things here. Sheet metal is also used in case you want to make a sheet metal. Like some people do aluminium sheet metal bending and all these operations. This is functionality that Fusion 360 has provided. This will be maybe another series of videos. This is not in the basics. And tools, that's also not required for the basics. If you go in design, there you will find that there are, if you go in this drop down menu, you will find there are lots of other options here. Many of these options such as render, animation, simulation, manufacture, or drawing will be explained maybe in the future videos, or maybe another series of videos will be made for these things. Finally, I'd like to thank all of you, my viewers who have subscribed. I've crossed the 100 mark, and thank you, and I appreciate it. Okay, so I will end this video here.